Hello, everyone. I wanted to make a video sermon this morning. I'm going to be in James 1, verses 5 through 8 in the King James Version of the Bible. And it says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like the wave of a sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted. And I think I read one verse too many on that, but today I want to talk to you about how you might become more rooted and grounded and unstoppable in your walk with the Lord if you have a made-up mind. You can change everything about your life. You can change days, calendars, your furniture. You can change whatever, but until you change your mind, nothing's going to happen. A made-up mind is so powerful. It's almost unstoppable when somebody's got their mind made up. I've talked about the default. I like bold print when I do a document, a Word or whatever, and I'll have it on bold print and or just for myself on an app on the phone, and I'll have it on that, and then I'll go out of the program and I'll come back after I close out of that program and it's gone. So the trouble was I didn't set it as my default. I see people that they do good for a while, and they really getting up and going good, but that's not their default. If they're in a situation where everything's going good, they can get it together. Going to a church meeting, if the meeting's good, they can do that. But when it's not, it's hard for them to do anything. I was thinking about the man that was at Beautiful Gate, and Peter and John came in there, and I think it was Peter and John, and they came in there and they said, "Silver and gold have I none, but such as I have give I unto thee." That's what he wants us to work with, is that such as we have. He's not expecting me to work with what you got, but with what I got. So the man was healed. If they had come in there the next day and the man had a cup out begging for alms, so the next day after he was healed, if he had had that cup out there again, that wouldn't have been good, and he needed to be changed. So until you change your mind, it's the same old thing. You just got a new date on it. There's power and significance and importance in a changed mind. You know, Esau, you don't hear much about him, but it was supposed to have been the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Esau, but it wasn't. It became the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because Esau sold his birthright. He lost it all because he was hungry. He made a permanent decision over a temporary situation, and I see that all the time. People making a decision over something that's temporary. The Bible. When people read the account in the Bible, I heard a man say this. It's not my original thought, but he said they think that Esau was tricked, that Jacob was slick, and he said it might have been a little bit of that, but he just thought that Esau was stupid, which I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's what he thought. He used the illustration. He said, if I told you I'd trade this handkerchief for your Mercedes, and you said okay, to him that would be plain stupid. I know when my children were in school, that's not politically right, correct, or whatever, say stupid and dumb or that kind of stuff. So, but it would be not a good decision. And like I said, Esau allowed himself to make a permanent decision over a temporary situation. Dumb choices, dumb trades, if you allow me to say that. Like trading a car for a napkin. That's just not a good decision. And I've told this story before, but I drove a special needs bus for about 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it was, and I loved it. And I had these children on there. We went through a neighborhood. There was a pond over there. It was about, I don't even know the temperature, maybe like 10 degrees. The bus is a hot place and it's a cold place in the winter. And it was freezing. I had a coat on. The children had coats on. And when we passed by this pond, there were some ducks sitting on the pond, and it looked like they was just doing the backstroke. They like it was in June or something. And I looked over at them and I thought to myself, you dumb ducks. Don't you know how cold it is? But then I got to thinking that they were ducks. They were built for this. When Paul was on his way to Damascus, that light knocked him off his beast. And he told Paul, he didn't say, Paul, now you're going to write more of the New Testament and all the rest of them together, but you're going to be a great man. He didn't tell him that. He said, I'm going to show you what things that you must suffer. My son-in-law, he was where they went inside a duck, cut it open. And he said there was so many layers that had to be cut through. So that's why the duck can sit on that pond. He's got a lot of layers between him in the water. So have you. So have I. We've got layers before the enemy can get to us. If we don't forfeit them, he can't get to us. And you can decide. People are trading their eternity for a little of nothing. I'm telling you, and that's who I have on my heart. And if I could just help a few people, you can decide something in 30 minutes that can affect your next 40 years. It can affect your eternity. I've married, performed the ceremony for several people, and whenever you do that, they say the wedding only lasts just a few minutes, 20 minutes. A lot of that songs and this, that, and other, marching, coming in and coming out, maybe 30 minutes. But they can make more promises in 30 minutes than they can do in the next 40 years. So, there's a sense that this too shall pass. When you've been tempted, just remember that it's temporary and it'll pass. So if the truth be told, and by the world it seldom is, seem like, we all have at one time or another done something dumb. I heard a man, he said he had done something so dumb, he could have graduated magna cum laude. He could have graduated from dumb university with honors. So I guess it's just me and him, so pray for me. I've done some Lulus, man, I'm telling you. It's impossible to live long enough, live a long life. I'm 71. It's impossible to live this long and not have done something regrettable, dumb, or whatever you call it. There's a comedian, Bill Engvall, and he, I've seen him, and he has a skit he calls "You Can't Fix Stupid," and here's your sign and all of that. But it's we talk so freely about other people's dumbness that seemingly we have amnesia over our own. It's part of our arrogance. So just go in there. This man I heard one time, he said, just go in there and look at your family pictures. That ought to wake you up right there. It's just really frustrating to want to change, desire to change, and can't do it. But it takes a changed mind. And, habits they say it takes 21 days, so you got to work on it. You got to be relentless. You got to be unstoppable. You got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. You have to say, wait a minute, I'm not going to change my clothes or my dress, but I'm going to change my mind. I used to work at a company, a sales company, and we had a meeting every Friday, and this fellow sat in a desk just a little bit from me. Every Friday morning early, he'd jump up and he'd say, I'm sick and tired. And he'd sit back down, and maybe in just a few minutes he'd jump back up again. He said, "I'm sick and tired. I've been sick and tired." Then he'd sit back down a few minutes, and he'd say, "I'm sick and tired. I've been sick and tired. I've been sick and tired." And you get the point. You have to get sick and tired of things before you can get things taken care of. If you got an empty heart, that's a cavity that God can fill. He fills empty vessels. He don't fill full vessels. And the only difference in you and the person that's doing good, maybe somebody you admire, is the perspective that you have on life. If you're disciplined in your perspective, you'll be victorious in the outcome. You know, you can go, I heard a man say this, you can go back to your whole life and you can see the dumb junior, dumb the third, dumb the dumb. We've all done these things. You know, repentance, that means a change of direction, a change of mind. A change that's so dramatic that it changes your behavior. Until you change your default, you just keep going back to the way you was before, and you'll keep getting the same things. If you keep thinking what you've always been thinking, you'll keep doing what you've always been doing. And if you keep doing if you keep doing what you've been doing, you'll keep getting what you've been getting. So it starts with you thinking, which affects you doing. As long as you're programmed with what you can't do, what you can't be, what you can't have, you'll never do any good. You need to make up your mind, and you need to say to yourself, "I will not die like this. If I don't change, but just for the last month of my life, I'm going to change." And how do you know it's not going to be the last month of your life? You got to be relentless. You got to be consistent. There's people that's relentless for a little while, but you got to be consistent, and you got to be thankful. And that's, I think, is the formula, the recipe, the prescription to do better. So I've enjoyed getting this to you today, and I hope this has helped you. If you need me, 256-508-4410, call, leave me a message. If I don't get back to you right away, I will. It's when I can. So may God bless you is my prayer.